despite some of the other shifts that we've seen in the play style. It's the same struggles, the same team, and Loud already proved that they can win attacks on some of the most defender-sided maps in the game literally 6 days ago. They're starting on attack here. I'm just not worried. I'm not worried.
I mean, why would you be worried anyway? We've been through this. We're just commentators. We can't pick sides.
Well, okay. Well, we can.
Or is your comment that you're not worried?
I do. I mean, I pick sides quite frequently. We're just being honest. But I pick sides because I think it's just like a fun thing to do. I'm not like I don't actually.
Oh, you just like being right.
Well, it's not that I like being. It's not that I like being right. It's I just really can't stop talking.
You like being right better than you like being wrong.
Oh, of course. What's that line that Brad Pitt says in Moneyball? It's like, I hate losing. I hate losing almost as much as I love winning. Wait, no. I hate losing more than I love winning, I think is the line.
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way.
It is a good movie. I only recently watched it. It wasn't one that I'd caught when it first came out.
Well, I also didn't catch it when it first came out because I think I was 9, and a movie about baseball statistics was not exact. What? I'm not even like doing a thing. Moneyball came out
when you were 9.
Moneyball came out in 2011. I was 9.
It just seems to be the default number that you go to.
I don't know, I don't know why, but you are correct though. I say 9 a lot.
It does just everything happened when you were 9 years old.
Anyway, bans have come through. Monty and Dokubi banned by ENX. Mute and Cade by Loud. Glad we have no Denari ban, because it's always a joy seeing we can pull through. And I have to say, Denari being another one of the trap operators, I would argue, at least in my opinion, Ollie, this is one of just general trap operators' best maps. Specifically like your Fenris, your Malusis, and in this case your Denaris, because of all the narrow hallways.
It just feels like a lot of places to hide stuff, doesn't it?
It does.
I don't want to go as far as say it's a cluttered map, but because obviously it's been reworked to be less cluttered.
How about claustrophobic?
But there's just a lot of little itty-bitty areas that you can really hide things. And I think because it's quite a period property, it benefits from some lavish decoration.
A what property?
Period. Very similar to a period drama.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought you meant, but I was like, is this really a period building?
Well, it feels it, doesn't it? It's an embassy build on the Ivory Coast. Like, it's got loads of fake pillars everywhere and columns and... Yeah, it feels like that kind of place, doesn't it? So I think visually it feels like there's a lot of places to hide things. That was a horrible animation. I hate it when they do that. Flastry gets himself into admin. We've already mentioned, and the desk has mentioned as well, that Loud are definitely a team to watch on the attack. They are by no means a slouch. Somewhere else that they do exceptionally well is the opening pick conversion rate. They currently have 100%. One of only 3 teams inside of this league to hold that statistic. Now, granted, it's week 2, so it's only based off 2 games. But if they can continue that here today, or at least keep it in and around the 80 to 90% sort of range, that would be a very good stat line to have as well. Also, the most successful team on the attack, so ENX have really got the work cut out for them here, despite this being a map which typically we do see favor defenders. We know that Loud aren't a slouch team.
They're not a slouch team, but this map can always be difficult, as you can see. Despite all the utility pouring in, they are actually able to find success. Perez holding that angle. A lot of pressure being placed on Florio. He rotates in front of Perez. Very solid setup by Loud. Another thing you'll notice, they take a long time to get these attacks set up, but they are quite good at converting those advantages. As Ollie mentioned, with 30 seconds to go, they pushed up beyond admin right to the door of the site. One player decides to swing Sexy Cake. You'll think better of that as not just 1 but 2 players, Vendetta and Bearing 9, shoot him to pieces. So Basetto moves to get the plant. Doesn't seem to be any vertical pressure by ENX at the moment. But that's control held by Loud denied, or ENX not taking that option. Basetto doesn't take a single bit of damage as he moves us into the post. A 4v2 for Loud, make that a 4v1 and a 4v none. We hyped up what? Their conversions, their attacking prowess, their time. We get every single box checked in round 1, and it ends in a victory. That's Loud to a T.
It's just clinical, and I think one of the things that makes it so good is that they really don't look to overcomplicate anything. They are playing very simple Siege, and simple Siege does not mean bad. It just means that they are doing the basics exceptionally well. Great opening picks. Everybody knows what job they have to do, and if you look at the press and the presence that they had in the map there, what, they took admin and they took vending hallway. Like, we had one guy outside of Cubby. It's not even a half court press. Like, it's quarter court. They've barely taken anything, but they don't need it because they know that they can just let ENX squirm. They know that once they get the opening pick, especially onto a smoke, by the way, the plant is all but guaranteed. ENX didn't have the depth to be playing anyone below. You look at that plant going down, and immediately, if you've watched Siege for any length of time, your eyes are going to what kit do the defenders have? Where's the player with the C4? Are they below? And when you don't see that, you kind of think, well, no smoke, no C4, nothing to stop this plant. It's got, and already it's down. And then you're in a post and you've got people literally just hanging out, borderline AFK inside a CEO, wondering what they should do. Time for action. It was 30 seconds ago, and it is too late. You have missed the SAL, my friend. Loud have kicked things off here with a round, and I don't think it's going to be the last one they get on the attack here tonight.
Ooh, you want to make that call?
I'll make that call.
I think it's a fair call to make. I think they got at least 2 in them. I feel reasonably confident about that. Excited to see what they concoct in attacking exposition. Will be a clear of some kind of the top floor. You saw some attention paid to opening the exterior wall, the cubby wall. Also see ENX looking to spread out as far as they can to gain that initial information, but it's focused around maintaining control of CEO and the verticality above the site. 3 defenders, Angels, Mitrix, and Florio. Cloud continuing to set up, take their time. Some utility expended. Second of Bassetto's Bs. Still waiting to find out what exactly the follow-through will consist of. Blackbeard, the Deimos, all waiting outside of admin. We're still going on drone.
It's like you said, they do take a lot of time to get things working. And I'm in 2 minds with it. And I think if you're listening, it's... maybe you think that we're kind of contradicting ourselves a little bit because we'll often talk about teams stalling out, and then we can sit here and almost seemingly praise Loud for taking a lot of time. There's a big difference between a stall out and setting themselves up. Another opening pick, this time onto Angels. Looks like it could be another as well, as Sexy Cake, he starts to take a ton of damage. Opening pick with around a minute left on the clock. This time at least Perez will be downed and finished off for it. So ENX doing something to maintain that man count.
Good work playing around those Kibas. Thrown on the door, it makes Flash 3 unable to aid Perez on pinching Foxera. So ENX get to maintain for a moment. Nice flick by the Malusi. Again, Loud trying to get all these pieces moving space and fighting their targets at the exact same time. ENX are doing a good job disrupting. Loud are hanging on, and only just. A bit of a strange engagement between STK and Florio right there. But again, a good trade. It's 2v2, but 1v2 if you're only including players on the top floor. Fortunately, Bassetto goes down to the vert, and I think Flash 3, Baudu, yes, expose himself to the player on the window. Nice little pre-fire, but Mitrix evades the shots. Tie game early on, but it's always about the long term when you're playing attack on Consulate.
There was 2 really weird engagements in that round. There was occasions where you're kind of looking at the screen and you're thinking, are the outlines bugged? Like, that outline is definitely a defender, and we're definitely watching an attacker POV, and neither of them are shooting at each other. I think it comes down to just not playing on a native resolution. You're playing anything like 4.3, 4.2, something of that nature. You're going to find that scopes are slightly different size and views and perspectives are slightly different, but I think we got a little bit of a glimpse of that there in that round. There were at least 2 pretty strange engagements there. Loud, they did take a lot of time, but they set up quite well. I think they just lost a couple of really crucial gunfights and didn't really have that beachhead to flood through. The Blackbeard is good, something like a blitz can be better when you're trying to clear that top floor as opposed to just sort of take fights and take angles, because there is a secondary sort of level of work to be done there once you've got that top floor control, either opening the vert or transitioning down into attacking onto the site. And we didn't really see them get to that point. ENX doing a really good job of holding on. Sometimes you just got to dig in, especially if you're playing in CEO. You've not really got anywhere to go. Yeah, you could hop out the window, but oftentimes if you've got a man count advantage, it's best to just dig in, waste a bit of time, and see if you can take somebody with you. And that's exactly what Mitrix was able to do. All square as we head down to the basement with what is undeniably quite a significant roam here from ENX. We've got a couple of the good old roaming operators about. We've got the Mozzie, we've got the Castle to assist. It is going to force a full map clear here from Loud.
Something I want to comment on earlier, by the way, that you talked about was the sometimes the tension between whether a team is stalling out or whether they're setting up, and it's often the difficulty of the analysis is sometimes when it's at the final minute left, the question is just, okay, they've done all this, is it going to be worth it? And often that's a question that's only answered in the round. Like here, for example, we see 8 drones spent on this setup if the overlay is correct. The Deathmark tracker also utilized to try and hunt down this roamer. And are they able to get anything for it? At the moment, no. The roamer's able to fall back entirely within the first minute. Now, it's a pretty extensive roam, to be fair, but the control established by Loud isn't necessary for the completion of this round. There, though, they finally get a kill out of it. Angels is able to take down one of those roamers, and it's the Warden, a player who can look through the smokes and the flashes that they have to facilitate that execute. So when we're thinking about whether a team is stalling, whether or not they're making good on their setup, it's all about what happens in the round afterward, and at least here, they made good on some of it by finding a lot of information and getting that pick, but with the thermite going down, it throws everything back into question.
As you say, it's often a question that can only be answered at the end when you have that hindsight. For the most part, I'd say that Loud are doing okay. Sexy Cake is still a little bit unknown at the moment. Mitrix going to be hiding out inside of servers as well. So if you're doing a head count of who is actually on the site and able to affect, not really got many pieces of the puzzle. Castle Barricade's not going to slow Live down as he can just swing Sledge's hammer and very quickly deal with that. Bit of a diffuser juggle as well, making sure that that's going to be in the right hands. These Deathmark trackers giving some good information, telling that these players are offside, but they don't know that Sexy Cake isn't on his own right now. Ooh. Well, instead, Mitrix just kind of gives himself up to STK. It's a bit of a shame.
Clearly, the intel game is definitely not paying off and definitely not making good on that investment. Loud spent or lost so much early on in the process. They have a good clear. They have a good clear of Sexy Cake, but Mitrix going on red has just thrown a wrench into everything. Paul has given 3 defenders all train on Perez's position. They win the fights. ENX take the lead off 2 rounds in a row. And Shadow looming large over Loud is investing so much early and uncharacteristically not getting the reward.
I don't think I've ever seen a basement round end with 3 players dying on server stairs. And 3 defenders inside a server, by the way. I don't think I've ever seen that. Just seems like a really strange hill to die on as Loud. Like, sure, you know that he's there. There are only a couple of places that they can rotate back from. Why don't we just commit a little bit of utility to watching those places? Get someone in at the bottom of Spiral, have someone watch the hatch, and see if you can work something out a little bit more front side. They were really playing into the hands of ENX. Like ENX didn't have a lot of utility operators. They had a Castle, they had a Mozzie, they had an Azami. Like, yeah, it's utility, but it's not plant denial. It's not something that's making the site more difficult to get to. So you've essentially just played into their most powerful area, which was the crossfire that they were holding inside a server. Why not just push the site? Why not try and force them out of that position that they've deemed to be of advantage into something that is a little bit more unknown for them, where they don't exactly know where you are or where you're going to be coming from. Instead, Loud just telegraph the position as, yep, we're going to come down server stairs, there'll be 3 of us, and you just make sure you all fire in that direction.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb. 10 seconds to insertion.
It's a bit of a puzzling end, but beginning is I'm really looking to.
Attackers are moving to
Allows investments be good. I mean, right now, boy, look at the utility you have. You want to keep every single element of this alive. You want the Ying, the Grim, and the Glaz especially. Fucking Sledge is interesting on CEO. Sledge obviously going to be good for those castle barricades specifically. Not really gonna, you know, hit the floor below with a sledgehammer. Will certainly be Live's job. But all in our experience, I think you and I both agree, this kind of indicates a CEO take. Especially with a couple players all already on the roof. That's at least the vibe I get. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, good night.
God damn.
Flastry just got deleted.
That's just... Wow. Yeah, sorry, Flashty. You
Opening
just got
pick for
fried.
ENX, by the way.
Yeah.
ENX haven't been too hot on the opening pick. And Loud have definitely dropped off their perch of 100% opening kill conversion rate after a couple of rounds going awry in this game. But ENX coming in strong this time, seeing if they can have something to say about it themselves. They've won the last 2 rounds from being a man behind, so this one, on the face of it, should be fairly straightforward. Think about what you've lost as well. You've lost the glass. There's going to be a couple of smokes, and of course the ability to see through those smokes with the camera. Now, you can watch a flank, which is going to be pretty invaluable. You've got players out on the rappel. There's always the danger of a run out. And this is where we come into the, are they setting up or are they stalling? I would characterize this as more of a stall than a setup, because you can kind of already see what's going to happen. Live's got a heck of a lot of work to do here, and he's entirely on his own.
Gotta watch his own flank and also apply pressure through these vertical angles, throwing the utility too. It all goes in, and Basetto immediately hops out. This is always the risk you play with a CEO take. By hopping in that window, you want to bait out the utility, but Florio still has toxic canisters, and you've expended almost all of your candelas, all of your flashes. Basetto still has a lot of bees, but if you just use this candela and the bees next, Florio basically has 1 smoke to spare and then another in pocket. Rotating up Perez with the shotgun, might I add. No L8 in play. I just walked up yellow, taking control. But again, what can you really do with that that's going to make this CEO take a game changer? What an angle Sexy Cake has. He's all the way in basement. He's below Live. They don't even know if the other is there. And it doesn't really matter, because there he goes. Sexy Cake lands his shots, and Live only figures out what happened when it is well too late. Shots flying from below and above as Loud have to go for the kills. Loud gets that diffuser. Takes a lot of shots. STK prone on the floor with the shotgun. Surely no way this works. Hops up. There goes one, not the other. Sexy Cake still uncaught on the roam. Gives ENX their 3rd in a row.
I love that from Sexy Cake there. Dropping the hatch. Getting the kill through the vert instead of risking the challenge there. We know that 6-12 is devastating. STK could have very easily gotten all 3 of those final kills with that 6-12 if the engagements had been kind to him. Loud, stunned into a timeout at the moment. A couple of rounds there that you look back at and think, strange choices, strange decisions from a team that we've credited so far from being very good on the attack. I think it's worth qualifying that, though, and, you know, it's not going to be the same level as your FaZe, your Fury, your W7M on the attack. I think that's a clear distinction to make. But of the teams in that part of the table, we're looking at Loud and thinking, yeah, you know, these are the guys that have maybe got it the most together out of those teams at the moment. They're still not rubbing shoulders with the big dogs, but they've showed us on occasion that, you know, they're not far behind. The consistency is coming to hurt them a little bit here tonight. And again, some of these decisions that we're seeing made, I don't think that the Glaz getting taken out first blood there has great consequence onto the round. I don't think that with that Loud are, you know, that much better off in that round in particular. It was a lot due to the fact that Sexy Cake was playing an incredibly deep roam downstairs, and there was no one that had done a head count. They didn't have a clue where everybody was. They might have known where 4 players were, but they didn't know where that 5th player was. And that was the thing that really came back to bite them.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Just good defenses from ENX for the moment. I think we have a lot of questions for how their attacks will go, but that's something we can talk about in 2 rounds.
10 seconds left left before insertion.
Now it's incumbent upon Loud to show us what changes they will make.
5 seconds to go.
For the moment, will be the introduction of a shield.
Attackers objective
Not a
is to
single
defuse the
shield
bomb.
run so far, except I think we did have a Blackbeard in round 2. Brought by, I don't know, not Bassetto. I think it was Lastry, if I recall.
Yeah, I think it was Flastry.
For bringing the shield back into play. Was the same side as well, that we did see the shield. But before they tried to go for a full clear of the top floor, they got caught at various points, but especially Peter on the second floor. Try to go for a bit more of a direct this time. Will they still try to handle the roam? Sexy K could be a big problem. Moving around the map. Very nice alacrity. Yet again, Loud low on drones within 45 seconds of the round starting.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be, especially when you've got a player that can be as slippy as Sexy Cake. He's 3-1 at the moment.
Oh,
Not the scoreline, it's more where he is. Quite a direct approach into the site, though, as Bassetto. He's going to use the blitz for that shock and awe and take advantage of the deep roam that ENX have found themselves in. C4s go missing, and this is a difficult post, especially with a blitz in the heart of the site.
and Bassetto could just, I was about to say, pressure any of these players. Maybe Sexy Cake if he wants to take the 1v1. A lot of utility expended by Loud, but they have the angles required. He's just doing a good job of controlling yellow at the moment, but the rest of the team got to get on this counter defuse. Got to get on this counter defuse. STK a little late to the party, but still showing up with a surprise. It's all Bach with the vertical. 1v4 and low HP. I just don't see this one happening. Loud recovering quite nicely after the timeout, getting the 2 rounds often required for a successful consulate attack.
Good gap finding. Nice use of the blitz. Brilliant pace to inject at this point in the game as well, where Loud have been very slow and steady. That slow and steady strategy, it's paid off for them once, but there are a couple of times in this game alone where it has bitten them in the back. And they've really thrown caution to the wind after that tactical timeout, moved a lot quicker. And just recognized there's a big gap. Sexy Cake has been playing such a deep roam that,
Attackers
okay, one player offsite, not too much to write home about. But if that's coupled with, you know, another 2 players offsite and maybe a quick kill that you can pick up on the site, then why not hit it? Why not really put some pain and put some punishment down? And that's what the blitz is able to do. It's a great tool when used like that. And just like that, Bassetto is off in the night. No more blitz needed. Instead, it's going to be a basement attack, so you're going to be putting a bit more pressure onto that hard breach. Still rocking this sledge, although it is going to get picked out now. I'm kind of glad to see that, because sledge is great, and I understand that they've got the machine pistol now. It's all singing, it's all dancing, it's fantastic. But I do think that there are much better options available, and I'm kind of surprised not to see the RAM be brought to try and rip open some of that floor upstairs. It's just such an easier and safer and quicker way of doing it. But alas, it is their choice at the end of the day, and Perez is instead going to opt for that sledge. Still have the Jackal on STK. Not often we get to see a Jackal kicking around, Lynx.
No, we don't. I was actually just thinking the same thing. There's not really much use for him, I will say.
See you on the other side.
I mean, I
Obviously,
get
you
that
know-
they're roaming, but like,
Well,
is it
that-
really that good?
Well, that's what I was gonna say, right? And especially you think of certain situations like, you know, maybe a bit more targeted encounter for operators like Cav or Vigil, but just such a situational operator at this point. And with how quickly Bassetto's going, not really. There is a roam on the opposite side, but at least for what's directly above this vertical, you can get away with a half clear if you're really careful about it. I just don't know if the Jackal is, 1, necessary for the lineup we've seen them go for, 2, necessary for what Loud are doing. But hey, more info is more info, and SDK has 5 opportunities to get direct information on a player from Loud's position, and he finds Angel, who is just playing a top spiral, now has rotated back down. It's something. Even if it's situational, it still will help.
It will. It isn't going to secure that flank the same way that a Nomad would. Bassetto is definitely on a wild goose chase right now. They've got a bee in their bonnet that there is a roamer somewhere. And you've got the Jackal. If you can't see the footprints, it's a safe assumption that no one's there unless they are incredibly tucked and got there nice and early. It looks like we can now at least start to focus on opening up some of this floor. The sledge's hammers, some breaching charges to make sure that that is done. Don't think that the main breach has been touched yet, but no denial, so it shouldn't be too much of a big problem. You've got a couple of Zotos to worry about, but there's nothing that's going to really slow you down from doing that. Brilliant opening pick, though. And all the talk about the Jackal, well, it is for naught. They are taking out First Blood.
Fortunate for Loud both in seeing what that ENX could offer, and also just, again, starting round down the 4v5. Though I will say, that's only a recent trend in this half so far. It's the second time they have gone down. You just think with how difficult Loud has found these attacks, it'd be a little more often. Here Basetto goes. Turning around, shield on back, putting the diffuser down. Can he make away again like a thief in the night? I was about to say you hear the C4 rip, but Bach finishes him off well before that. It is a very unceremonious death that Loud undergoes. Perez watching his own flank, picks up one with 14 seconds left. Live pushes deep, hoping that maybe somebody from ENX makes a mistake. He's got an opportunity with Bach, but can't land the shot in the head. Perez drops to provide some support, and it's just not happening. 4-2-half, not bad whatsoever, but with all the hype we gave Loud and the success they had on Skyscraper attack previously, I think everyone here maybe wanted a little bit more than that.
Yeah, you just sort of wonder, is it a one-trick thing? Is Skyscraper just their map? Did they get a bit lucky? I don't know. We know that Consulate can be a tough map, but there were glaring opportunities in that map for them, or at least in that first half, for them to come away with better than a 2-4 split. I don't think they're going to be too worried in the context of things. They're going up against ENX, who, if I'm correct, have, an 11.1% attacking win rate this stage, inside of stage 2. That will context that by saying we're only in week 2. However, 1 out of 9 is pretty bad. On a map that's difficult to attack anyway, it doesn't fill you with confidence for what is going to happen in the next couple of rounds here for ENX. But I'd love to be proved wrong. But I think Loud are going to be fairly comfortable with that 2-4 split.
I would agree with that, but as we always say, has to be decided by the game in front of us. What actually transpires in the round.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
And maybe it's ENX's week. After all, they did pop off in a game against Furia on Skyscraper. Boxera in particular leading the way in that game last stage. 6-4 right now might not be the most impressive scoreline, but not exactly been the most impressive game from either side. Some big highlight moments like Sexy Cake's vertical angle from 2 floors below to deny the planned CEO. We'll see what the future has to offer. STK dropping or picking the Vigil in Loud's first defense. Not necessarily indicative of a team-wide heavy roam. Probably just a little bit of a lurk or a late flank that he might try to go for, especially to waste time by denying immediate information. By and large, though, I think we can both agree, Ollie, that everything aside from the Vigil indicates that nobody's really straying too far from the site or at a max admin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they need to. Loud, again, some of the best rounds, well, the best rounds that we've seen them play today have been rounds that they've not overcomplicated. They've really tried to keep things quite simple. And I think that the same can be said from attack to defense, is that just keep it simple. Keep a bit of control of admin. Peel back. Use the layers that are naturally gifted to you on Consulate. Admin being the first layer. Move back. Vending hallway the second layer. Move back. Long desk. You know, it's all there laid out for you. You've just got to decide how much time you want to waste in each spot and where you want to kind of make your final stand. I think that's really the game plan at the moment for Loud. STK kind of just doing what he wants. He can just play a little bit loose on the vid. And they know that a lot of time is going to be soaked up in this round anyway, so why not just have him downstairs, bit of drone hunting, see if he can catch anyone on a careless entry. I don't know if we'll get any run out action yet, but it's already something that ENX are a little bit concerned about. STK's position here as well at the bottom of these service stairs, fantastic, because he's got such a great opportunity to rotate back if and when ENX do take that admin control. He can start to just spring up in the middle of all that. We may not even get to it before his first engagement, though.
Not. Oh, he's got a direct line. Said Bach to go down. STK, and I think Perez in tandem Able to shut down the player pushing in through main. Sexy Cake still looking to make this Visa flank work. Aggressively moves further up the stairs. Grenade to deny the close swing on-site door. And STK2 looking to maybe take the fight to Sexy Cake himself. Flank the Deimos with that Boss G. You can see the bits of utility for what ENX want to do. See these ROU projectors used to cut off line of sight on both long bar and the hall, but oh, that's a brutal team kill. Comms not flowing as well as ENX would like. Angels takes down Mitrix, the Sens, who's meant to facilitate this whole execute. Hexacake not used a single Deathmark tractor so far, by the way. You'd like to see him down below applying pressure to some of these players inside of the site, but because of his position and prior choices, he's just immediate fodder for STK, or so I thought. The Spidey sense starts tingling, and at least the backline pressure is dealt with. It's just the 4 players in sight who have been there since the beginning of the game. That is now what they have to worry about. Hexacake with a quick swing, but Seto knifing in the air. Still advantage Loud and will continue to be so. Bit of a brief, confusing moment in the end, but a round that never really felt like it left Loud's corner.
I think it was a predictable end, wasn't it? There was a couple of moments in there where you sort of stand up and think, oh, maybe. 6K's kill onto STK. Nice reaction. Great little flick. But why have you let STK get away anyway? You knew where he was at the start of the round. He turned and killed Box straight away as soon as you tried to pinch it together. And Sexkate was kind of just baiting. Like, he never really fully committed to the pinch. I understand moving up the service stairs, throwing the nade, destroying the utility, because that's a time thing, and you want to get that done as soon as possible, and then go back down and try and search. But you've either got to commit to finding him or not. You're not always going to get that lucky flick onto him. As it stood, it didn't really matter anyway, because the side players did not been pressed one little bit. No one from the side of ENX anywhere near CEO, no one near yellow, no one even near main stairs. You can't just expect to push in off that single doorway. It really felt like Sexy Kate was kind of the only one doing the work. Yeah, we got the team kill in there. Unfortunate. Up until that round, Mitrix was 6-2. So, not ideal to not see his contribution there in round 7. I think a predictable end from the way that it all started. ENX really not showing any sort of aggression, not really showing any bite there on that first attack. Let's see if they've got a little bit in them here for round 8. Slightly different lineup. Going to be rocking the Dokkaebi this time instead of the Deimos. Hopefully we will see some of those Dokkaebi calls used. I think it's been a couple of times now that we've seen no one really using those death marks. And I think it just speaks to how good Deimos's kit is, that you don't really even need to use them because that pistol's so good anyway.
Yeah, I mean, shotgun pistol is a ridiculous combo. Well, the shotgun and that particular pistol is a ridiculous combo. Their Deimos brought this time. Instead, Hexacake switching to a player who I think, Ollie, we can both agree, probably has a kit that rivals it. Dokkaebi calls the flashes, SMG-12 and DMR. I think you'll never complain about seeing a team bring. Great for clearing some of this roam or hunting down Perez. Not necessarily even hunting him, but just checking to see if he's going for the flank or not. See the cutoff held by a player outside of yellow stairs from ENX.
Activating
Okay.
code.
Florio also moving around this middle floor at the moment. You're all that cacophony of calls being sounded around, not only from the middle floor, but up through the hatch. They spot one target inside a piano. Live instead just holding back for the moment. It's flash for you, starts things off. That Dokkaebi going silent. Not the kind of thing you'd want to see. Sentry for Legion for a Dokkaebi. I would absolutely make that trade, and I think you see Loud realizing that with the time wasted. Para still up above. Live considering dropping down below.
Even time for a pocket reinforcement from STK. Always nice to keep 1 or 2 in the back pocket, and you can place them at your leisure, depending on which side this push ends up manifesting itself from. Mitrix will be able to move through, but is forced to use another Selma. With the allocation of hard breach, I'd imagine that main breach is going to stay fairly well closed unless Bot can get out there and make something happen. Angels trying to land a shot. The C4 gets sent, but it's going to be a little bit too long. Live just maybe doing a little bit too much there. giving that advantage back over to ENX for the final 30.
I don't know if we needed to do all that. Perez also considering roaming upstairs. I mean, a bit more tricky of a position, I would say. Especially as I don't know if you will be found out in this position in particular. And if ENX take too long, get so focused on hunting down Bassetto and STK, this flank could be big. STK with a nice angle, only downs one, can't finish off the other. You don't have time to pick up your teammate, don't have time to fight the mirror, just persevere and push into the site. Perez dealt with on the flank, and so the rest of the defenders looking towards the front, looking towards this diffuser, and looking towards ENX. And yet the attack wins the final 2 fights necessary for success. And Loud's late gambit does not pay off.
They're just making things far too complicated. ENX are leaving themselves with very little time to make things happen, and yet they're being given opportunity time and time again to pull it off. Live didn't need to get that fancy. There was 3 C4s left in the final 35 seconds there. Live sent his out, fine, doesn't connect, but then swings off the back of it when you know that someone's going to be ready. Like, ENX are in a do or lose situation. Like, if they don't push you, they're going to lose. You don't need to push them because they're going to do it for you. You just need to be ready to take advantage when they do. We still had C4s on 2 of the side players as well. Didn't see those get used. Just seems like such a shame because Loud are putting themselves in decent positions right now. But ENX are just taking advantage of, I mean, small mistakes, yes, in the grand scheme, but in the game and in the context, fairly large mistakes that Loud are making. ENX are there to capitalize.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
I think there's a very clear road to success for ENX now. Not in terms of, you know, guaranteed round wins or even necessarily likely round wins, but if these mistakes continue, especially as Loud have already taken their tactical timeout, they have to figure them out in round, and if they fail to figure them out, ENX can continue taking advantage of Loud overplaying their hand, overextending, overcomplicating. Could easily find a way through. STK looking to get a bit of early info denial, will shoot that drone, then immediately fall off, registers and recognizes that, likely in conjunction with the repel sound cue, could be an admin push or admin pressure to start. Him and Live will join forces. Another exposition defense, or excuse me, I suppose not another middle floor defense. There was just a lot of middle floor presence last time. Will be more heavy presence on exposition, and of course, a very logical roam up top. As ENX decide to begin a lot of their pressure over on the admin side, the tip of the spear will be that Monty. The Mitrix will need to be careful not to either expose his head to any defenders on the same floor as him, or in Flashby's case, do not expose your feet to any defenders below.
Flastry. Feeling frisky, but some great timing there from Sexy Cake. He's on one tonight, isn't he? Like, every angle he seems to be checking it at exactly the right time. Some great game sense coming through from a big veteran player here in SAL. Flastry put to 1 HP as well. Not going to be much good in any further gunfights. Still with a couple of goo mines to get sent out there. We'll do so. Dokubi call. Not really good for much. Wonder if Flastry's heard this player just creeping down the corridor. Sexy Cake going to be prone to gain. These two coming head to head, or potentially. Could be about to see another example of Loud doing a little bit too much, just getting a little bit too antsy. Oh, a bit of a shoulder peek there. But Flastry knows he can't take that engagement, instead needs to back off.
Sexy Cake, unfortunately, off for the rest of this round. Monty pushing forward, looking to deal with this smoke. Florio downed and finished off in the process, and that's perfectly fine. This situation perfectly fine for Perez, who will throw down the toxic canisters, separate Mitrix's cover, isolate the 1v1s as well as Bach loses his to Flastry. Mitrix now trying to grasp for any bit of information. His support has been ineffective and then some, leaving it all up to the pistol and the shield. So much to do with 3 players remaining. Mitrix will use his utility, drop down. Hatch drop successful. Swings around for the next kill, but be careful, Loud. Let's not start getting a little too crazy. Loud still maintain a winning record on their defenses so far, but have only narrowed the gap by 1.
ENX still with an advantage, as you mentioned, but cracks starting to show. And Loud just playing a little bit more reserved, really being the order of the day. ENX are going to push you. They're the attackers. They have to. You don't always have to be the aggressor. I think it was a good example there that we saw in that round. Just not taking gunfights or, you know, I mean, I know it started with a run out, but it was more of a peek out. It wasn't, it didn't have the same sort of aggression that a full-blown run out has. But it was instantly punished, and Flastry recognized that, backed up, and then played very safe for the rest of the round. There was the shoulder peek, fine. You've got to gather information some way, and if you've used your utility and you've not much left, then maybe you just go for it, you know. See if you can gather any info. If you know he's there, it at least allowed Basetto a chance to pick up that kill. Loud have tasted a little bit of success. They're going to take us to the split bomb site for round number 10. And they're bringing a little bit more information and a heck of a lot of denial. Bandit and Decade.
I'm not complaining. I think if the ban phase completes and you can see ENX targeting completely different things, I mean, you have full breadth of hard breach now. I mean, you said ban Decade. We got Mute too. We've got every single hard breach denial operator except like Tuberau being brought by Loud.
5 seconds remaining.
And if you look at what ENX have, they will obviously bring the Thatcher, because you should in this situation. The actual hard breaching is a little limited. Just the Selma's in the hard breach charges. So if one of those goes down to the 4 C4s being brought by Loud, you can have those EMPs all you want, but your hard breaching resources itself, quite limited.
This reminds me a lot of a Black Dragons defense that they used to run way back in the day. And that was a Black Dragons with players like Basetto and SDK on the roster, where they would just stack up those C4s. Like you say, they've brought 4. And they are just really banking on being able to make them last. Flastry doesn't need a C4, though. Just the MP7 to pick up a really cheeky opener. Past the shield on the Monty as well. I mean, whatever happens to Flastry here, he's done a great job. He is going to get full whited there and likely will be finished off. Maybe could try and get his C4 out there for max value. He's going to go for it. There's a lick of damage, but not too much. Oh,
what are we doing?
Kill onto the Monty. Why is he de-shielding?
Where's
the support?
No, I'm sorry. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, no.
Flo just baying inside a yellow.
Like, no, I'm sorry.
Over.
No, I'm sorry. We need... I'm sending a subpoena down to Florio right now. I need a deposition. I need an alibi. I need to know what the hell just happened there. Why is the Monty being left to ADS? You used both flashbangs. The Monty's gonna take the fight? That's fine. Swing after him. You literally have used all of your secondary utility. All of your flashes are meant to get that fight. We know this. Maybe they don't, but we know this. The Bandit's by himself. Nobody's there supporting Flastry. If the Monty's going to ADS, which is a big if anyway, but let's just assume he should. If the Monty's going to ADS, he's on the right side. You're not going to swing in front of him. What is stopping the 2-for-1? That is an egregious mistake by ENX, and to be fair, what was overall a catastrophic round.
Yeah, not ENX's finest hour. That much is for certain. Is the timeout good enough to steady the wrongs that were going on in that round in particular? I don't think 45 seconds long enough. I think you've got to put it to bed and deal with it after the game. They've squandered the advantage that they'd gained for themselves.
To locate and defuse bombs.
Loud slowly but surely catching up here. They've had 3 rounds on this defensive side so far, and there's not much saying that they're not going to get another 2 and close this game out. ENX definitely on the back foot, and they're going to be doubting themselves now as well. They need to come through with some very clean siege. I mean, let's ignore the previous round because it was just a catalogue of errors. If we look toward a time where we've seen them gain a little bit more of a foothold,
5 seconds remaining.
certainly forced into some annoying operators at the moment,
Defuse a bomb.
given what's available. Obviously, it's only the Bandit that's being brought they're still going for a Hibana, Maverick, and an Ace. I get that you've got to get the wall open, but surely just bring a Ram and a Thermite and call it good.
Angels.
Maybe bring the Mav to sort of, you know, get in from the backside and provide a little bit of an option for pressure later, but I'm not sure you need all of it.
Traumatized by the loss of Angels last round, I think, Ollie.
Yeah, they're like, well, you never know. One of us might get shot.
Also, this is a crazy trip setup from STK right there. Did you see it?
Yeah, across the breach.
Yeah, well, it's like diagonal up one side, diagonal up the other. I love it. Really like what we're just seeing from Denari in general. Really fun to see what teams cook up. Big early find. Ace goes down early previously. This time, it's the Ace who does the killing. ENX again breaking a Loud opening kill streak. 4 in a row that Loud have started off these rounds at a 5v4. This is only ENX's third opening pick of the entire map so far. Could be very important, not necessarily the utility that they take down from Flash Tree. But with how tricky the coordination was in round 10, you want to make sure you have a built-in advantage in round 11. Especially if Perez goes unnoticed in art, can whip out that Specchio scanner, start peeking down below. Somebody goes in for that plant from garage or anywhere on that bottom floor.
Bit of a stall out at the moment from ENX. They have got into service. Mavericks done the job and opened up that backside, but they're immediately getting challenged onto. Default camera being watched and shot. They now know where this push is coming from, but looks like they're at least picking up a good portion of these kills.
All right. Well, I guess we're just going to hollow out the entire site. Perez's lurk not made good on. SDK's got to fall back. Vertical control is still in the hands of Loud. Perez doing quite good so far. Hello. SDK ripping up a hole directly in front of ENX. Perez making things a little scary. But it's not until SDK gets this kill, and if he does, that I'll start freaking out. Florio's able to find him. Very hole that SDK opened is the one that does him in the end. Because Perez waits. They're pushing back into garage. Unnoticed. Flashbang goes through. And there's Mitrix with the follow-up. Match point for ENX. A shaky round 10, but round 11 goes their way, and that's all that matters for the moment.
Main breach not open. Vert not taken. Still ENX walk away with a round. They literally just horizontally push through server side. I guess great job of attacking Loud where they weren't and taking advantage of that. But Loud, you've got to be a little bit more switched on than that. Like, if nothing's going on yellow, if nothing's going on above, if there's no one on main breach, where do you think they might be coming from? They're not just going to TP into sight. Loud losing a heck of a lot of gunfights there. And in general tonight, I think. There's maybe only Perez and Flastry that you'd look at and go, yeah, they've had a good couple of rounds.
I mean,
there's a serious lack of performance from Bassetto and Live.
STK's been chipping away at it too, but like, kind of just a one-around kind of guy. Actually, wait, hold on.
10 seconds remaining.
I was going to say like 0.5 around.
I'm checking some real quick. It's kind of a strange trend. Most of STK's kills come in round they lost. Not even like
an issue.
Not even like a baiting way, like he's last alive. Just like, just by sheer coincidence, I think 4 of his 7 kills came in rounds they lost. Anyway, essentially the final site of the map will be Exposition. Bassetto taking the pulse down below. The M10, by the way, I think still we would all consider that the worst shotgun in the game. Do you agree with that, Ollie?
I would concur.
M10 worst shotgun. I would think since we got 2 casters agreeing, I think that makes it law. Okay, Perez, C4 goes out. That's a shot in the air.
Shot.
Nice shot. Unfortunately, losing one of the 3 C4s we have.
Swapping mags.
I guess you do at least know that ENX seemed to be going for a top-down clear. Really want to not only clear out, but establish control of that second floor. You will have to worry about Bassetto later on, but this is at least a good place to start.
ENX at least guaranteed themselves some points out of this matchup, which for them is massive. Are they going to be able to convert it and take the full 3? That's the question. They've only got one chance at doing it. Bok getting caught out there on the heartbeat scanner of Pulse. Can't believe it's taken till what could be the last round to actually see a pulse on this map. It is a very popular pick. And it has assisted somewhat here to find out where this push is coming from, but I don't think they're accounting for 3 players now really stacking up inside of long desk. Texicake just getting ready to start sending these cluster charges through the floor. ENX not really in a bad position right now, but the difficulty at the moment is how do they transfer this from, yep, good control of the top floor to actually making something happen on that site level.
Especially with both Solus and Pulse on the board. That's just my biggest concern. All of this is great, but those 2 operators could pose massive issues. And it's like everything that ENX is doing right now is good and also just completely disconnected from the impact those 2 operators can have. So we'll see Sexy Cake jump in, and what we want to see is Flash 3, you know, fall on yellow, this flank to be stopped. We don't want to see Live or Perez have impact whatsoever. And yet all of that might not matter with how long this round is taking. 30 seconds to go. Flash 3 spotted 1, drawing a lot of attention on yellow, which will just burn more time and potentially give the Solus and the Pulse more impact. There goes Live. Flash 3 pushing through will eliminate Sexy Cake. They get the Solus, but there's still that Pulse. Where's Bassetto? He's going for the flank. He's got the shotgun. Is this Perez down below? If they swing around the corner, it's all left up to the Pulse. What intel can he find? C4 goes out, but they've read into it! Up until 4 seconds remaining, but ENX have the countermeasures and shut out loud in regulation.